Let's talk about knees. Whether you run or not, your knees are often a weak link in a gym or in daily life. We blame our knees, but the problem isn't usually in the knee itself. Most people assume it's just weak glutes, and it's partly true. Glutes stabilize the pelvis and help prevent the knees from collapsing inward. But here's the real story. The hip, knee, and ankle are interconnected. It's called a closed kinematic chain. Imbalances in one area inevitably affect the others. And the knee seems to be a slave to the hips and ankles. Let's look at what happens during dynamic movements in those areas. The ankles primarily manage initial contact with the ground, and micro-adjustments to how the ground reaction force, the upward force from the ground when you make contact, enters the system. Then the force is distributed upper, and it's actually the quadriceps that eccentrically control how much knee bends against both forces. The constant pull of gravity, the downward force, and the ground reaction force, the upward force, during those dynamic movements. So it depends on the strength and control of the quads, whether the knee absorbs force safely or whether stress is passed to ligaments and other passive structures. That is why if the knee fails to absorb forces properly, injuries may not only occur at the knee itself, but also at the hip and ankle due to body compensational adaptation. Therefore, the quadriceps play a critical role in stabilizing the knee, working together with the glutes, hamstrings, and adductors. Quads stabilize patellar tracking and control eccentric deceleration during impact and motion. This matters not only for athletes in sprinting and landing from jumps, but also for daily life, walking downhill, hiking, stepping down safely. So why quads and ankles deserve priority? Because glutes get plenty of attention, but quad-focused exercises, especially with proper ankle mechanics, must be the first line of defense for building resilient, injury-free knees. Glute exercises, bridges, hip thrust, RDLs don't challenge quads enough, whereas quad exercises, squats, lunges, step-ups, recruit glutes too. So here is my progressive plan for bulletproof knees. To keep it simple, I've broken it down into 3 levels. Level 1 – beginner or post-injury. Level 2 is more challenging, and level 3 is advanced and the most demanding. At level 1 we focus on movements that balance our quads, glutes and ankles. Wall sits is one of the best ways to build early quad strength without putting dynamic stress on the knees. This exercise is quad dominant with slight glute activation. Keep hips and back flat against the wall. If it gets too easy, lift your heels. It adds calf and ankle loading. Still too easy? Add weight. Each version teaches your knees and ankles how to share loads. Next, lateral lunges and Cossack squats. The difference is in the depth. Lateral lunges are performed with moderate depth, so they might be more weight loaded. Cossacks are where ankle mobility and hip control really get tested as you go as deep as you can, pointing the toes up on the straight leg. It's better to start with assisted Cossack squats and gradually progress to freestanding variation, and even loaded one. Next, all variations of step-ups and step-downs. Start with a small step and add load when comfortable. Progress to higher steps with or without assistance and load. Now, when we've rebuilt some strength and confidence, we move to the level 2, which is more about quad isolation and which is more challenging. First, assisted C6 squats. Here we isolate the quads almost completely. Focus on staying tall, lean back while bending knees. Remember not to sit back. Then we move to reverse Nordics. Start with assistance if needed. Gradually, you'll control the descent on your own. The most challenging variations of this exercise will be going all the way down to touch the ground with your back, or using a reverse Nordic to bench press combination. I don't recommend doing those shortly after any injury, as they are really demanding. I personally can't go all the way down in the reverse Nordic. I know my limitations and I try to stay gentle to myself. At level 3 we move into the high level work. First, narrow deep squat for ankle mobility. Here you want to keep your torso upright. It's not as easy as it seems to. So try assisted variation first and even heels elevation if needed. Over time, remove heel elevation and strive to go deeper while staying upright. Then gradually progress to adding loads to it. Then pistol squats. In fact, all pistol squats variations are beneficial. And you can start with the most accessible to you at the moment and gradually add difficulty for progress. You can start with single leg bench squats, then load it, then to try assisted negative pistol squats and then freestanding negatives. As you can see, I'm also at the point of building strength. I can do negatives, but I can't get up in the pistol squat. However, since I started doing the exercise, I noticed immediately the benefits for quads and knee strength. Next, box jumps. They target glutes, quads, hamstrings and ankles dynamically under acceleration, not just under slow mechanical loading like in squats. They teach safe landing mechanics and train your body to absorb impact. At the beginning it was scary for me to jump up on something. I imagined clearly myself falling and smashing my face. I recommend to start with low elevation and level up gradually. Focus on soft landing. Don't forget a powerful arm swing to initiate the movement. So these were the most effective knee strengthening exercises. Once you master them, you can further choose which works best for you and combine them in your sessions by feeling. Remember, it's important to perform at least 2 of these once a week. But as far as knees are concerned, there are 2 things that you possibly don't know. First is the Q angle and female biomechanics. Women's natural wider hips affect knee tracking, so that the knees naturally collapse inward while the knee bends. Greater Q angle increases the risk of knee injury. Statistically, women have torn ACLs and other knee problems more often than men. This makes quad strengthening even more critical for women to maintain knee stability. And second, the barefoot work. Shoes significantly change how forces travel through the body. Thick cushioning encourages hard heel strike and masks impact on joints. Barefoot walking promotes softer landings, midfoot striking and a more natural movement pattern. As most of the ground covering in modern world is extremely hard, it's important to implement barefoot work progressively. To try barefoot walking first, then maybe to add occasional barefoot running. My personal setup looks like this. For strength workout, I choose minimal barefoot shoes for better ground contact and stability. They challenge my ankles to work harder, so in some cases I need to use a slant board to overcome ankle mobility limitations. For everyday walking, I prefer barefoot style sneakers with a bit thicker outsole. As we now walk mostly on concrete, I find it uncomfortable to walk in absolute minimal shoes, but I still need space for my toes to splay naturally. For running, I take advantage of a shoe rotation that provides different levels of cushion and drop. Most of the time I use conventional cushioned shoes. I just rotate them, changing the drop level and cushion softness. And occasionally I use zero drop close to the ground but not minimal shoes for short sessions, focusing on strengthening the feet. After running in these, I feel the tension and fatigue in all the muscles and ligaments from the toes up to the glutes. And this is it. Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed this, you might also love my pull-up progress masterclass. It's linked below. Train smart. See you soon in the next video.